Facebook now live together with Prita and all of you who are listening in. I see the numbers going up and down on Green Wonder Network. Please go to the Platinum platform of Vicky Esther Chang Facebook account and you'll see us live and we are live already. Yes, Prita, we are live already. So Prita, and ladies and gentlemen who are actually listening in on Green Wonder Network, please um, share Green Wonder Network app available on Android and Apple. And also, if you're looking at me here, if the eyeballs are being, if this app or this Facebook app is being pushed to your eyeballs, please share to your friends, to as many as possible, because we are going to have this wonderful supper talk. It's my live, the 3 a.m. Uh, conversation you wish you could have had with your family, with your friends, some secret relationships, some secret um, gripes.
Secret.
You wish that you could have spoken about, but we never had the chance. But here we are. Frida, we are already on Facebook. Frida, would you like to say hi on a Tuesday evening at 9:52 p.m.?
Hi everyone. How's everyone? How's your day? You can comment in the Facebook Live and share.
Yes,
We
and I
already have
do see
those
people
coming
looking at
in.
us. Yeah, we're
Yes.
looking at people looking at us on Facebook and also people on the radio listening. So this is a simulcast. Wow. I mean, this is the wonderful part of technology, right? I mean, at the minimum cost, but we are able to reach out to different parts of the world. And hopefully I could incorporate live on Spotify the next time. So, let's do it incrementally. Um, so today, we are going to continue our girl talk yesterday. Prita, I'm just going to say, whoever are tuning in, looking at us, the weather is really warm and humid. It's like there's heat wave everywhere. I see it in South Korea. I see there's flood in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. I see there's a flood in Spain and also maybe some time ago and also in Italy. And the heat wave
Yes.
is really hitting Singapore. How are you feeling over there, Prita? Tell us where you
Okay.
are.
I
Which part?
think
Are you in Singapore or are you in Australia?
uh I'm in Singapore, and at the moment, as you can see in my background, there's a
Yeah.
fan right next to me. So I don't feel
I
that
got
warm
my
because normally,
cool.
yeah, this is my favorite spot. I always sit over here and do my lectures, online lectures, or I just sit over here, have my dinner and
Mhm.
all that, my family. But just the fan, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good fan. I think it's a Mistral fan. I just put it near me because I can't
Yeah.
take the heat
They need to
sometimes.
pay you.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very hot.
So
But in the day,
whenever we mention the brands,
uh-huh.
right, the brands have got to write to us to pay us.
Yeah, that's why they should. They should give us some
Yeah.
money.
Or
But yeah,
endorsement.
it's really bad.
Okay.
The Europe heat wave, I just saw in the news also.
Yeah.
Wildfires is burning in Spain and France,
And the
Portugal,
floods in Texas,
are dying.
America, and over 100 people died and unfound in Texas. So my heart and my condolences go over there.
Correct, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we talked about friends and friendship, right? And Frida, if you do remember, yesterday I kind of reminisce those days when I was really young. I couldn't afford the little pencil case. Even
Mm-hmm.
after the radio show or the podcast we had, I still kind of reminisce about the pencil case and also the sticker book I never had. I was thinking maybe I'm going to be like you. Just go to one of the shops and look at my favorite stickers
Yes,
and then
why
buy a
not? Why
sticker
not?
book and they kind of like paste on it. I mean, if we could afford some little small stuff to make ourselves happy, why not? So, and you left off with a very good message for the audience. You talked about friendships, relationships should not be based on material wealth or material well-being. It should not be based on the car that you have right?
Yes.
Whether you have a Benz, whether you have a Merc, whether you have a Tesla, or whether you have a Lamborghini, it shouldn't be based on um, the cash in your wallet. It really should be based on character and the kind of positive influence that you can get from your friends so that you grow together. We talked about that. And any other memories you've got, Prita, about girlfriends, boyfriends, BFFs, frenemies, when you're young until now?
Um, I think I met a lot of people in my life. I must say that because I was a
Yeah.
lecturer at the National University of Singapore. And since I was working there, I met lots of people like from all walks of life, professors, scholars, PhD students, students as well. So I became very sometimes I feel very confused. I don't even I see so many people in front of me. Sometimes in a lecture, I feel very like overwhelming, you know. And then sometimes when I go to Orchard, I see my students walking around. I think sometimes, I feel like some students are really friendly and really nice. And then some of them, we even added on LinkedIn and all that. We have good rapport and relationship, but some of them just forget about me and just disappear, which is fine. Okay, but other
Yeah.
than that, with other relationships like friends and all, I think my overseas friends, I do keep in touch with them. Because I studied in Sydney. I do have very good friends, not so many, but a few good friends. I think quality is better than quantity. I must say that. Okay, there's no point having thousands and thousands of friends. So I think back in the days when I was in uni studying, I felt like I wanted to join a lot of cultural events because I did international communication and international relations. So my studies actually related to cultural studies and I wanted to learn more about other people's culture. So I joined the Spanish festival, the French festival. I met people there. So I think it was really good. I met lots of people and I think it was a very good experience for me when I was in Sydney studying. And then when I came to Singapore, I think Singapore is a multiracial society, but not as multicultural as Sydney. Okay, it is multicultural, but not as, So I think in Singapore, I feel like we still live with stereotypes. Sadly, we have
Yeah.
people
We
like I did a
still have,
research.
there's so much
Yeah,
room for improvement, right, as human.
correct.
Um,
Very
you know,
sad actually.
even,
Yeah, we do have a lot of negative stereotypes about minority groups. I did some research
yeah.
on that. Sadly, even the
Tell us
construction
about your
workers,
research.
yeah. Oh,
What were your findings for your research for the
it
minority
was it
groups?
was a proposal
Not
that I
not
was
to
doing
state too
for
overtly, not to state too overtly, but was it generally positive? There's room for improvement.
um honestly, the relationship between Singaporeans and foreigners. I did the research on that and I found out through the literature review, it was a proposal that I was doing. And I found out that there were a lot of problems within Singapore, and the societal
I know
issues.
there's a
They're
lot
not
of
spoken, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement, Frida, in Singapore, in many, many parts of the world. And that's why we have got like podcasts like this. We can link people together, the connection between humanity, right? And we can show that at the lowest denominator, we are all the same. I mean, we strive for dreams. We have the same problems, right? I mean, you've got problems with BFF, you've got problems with BG, boy-girl
Boy,
relationship,
girl.
you got problems with your mom.
Yeah,
I got problems with my
everyone,
mom in
yeah.
the past. I got problems with my siblings, with siblings rivalry. I mean, no matter where you come from, we've all got the same problems. We got the problems with um women wanting to slim down. We got
Slim
problems
down.
with women wanting to look
Yeah.
better. We got men wanting to look better, as stronger to go into the gym. I mean, I don't think there is a huge difference, Aprida. Beyond that surface, it's almost like the cover of a book, right? Do not judge a book by its cover. But at the end, it's just a novel, right? It's a book.
Yes.
So I do feel that we have to ignite the curiosity between humans, amongst humans, that we should have this interconnected relationship and connection in the world. And yesterday you did talk about some collegiate rivalry, but I want to talk about my girlfriend. I couldn't complete that yesterday, so before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to welcome you. People who are on the radio listening in, welcome to Green Wonder Network. Please share the app. and have more friends to come in via the radio app, and also on Facebook. People are looking at us, and thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the love sending to you. You know, I remember when I was young, you talked about when you were in primary school or secondary school, you felt ostracized, right? Because you felt like
Yeah.
um, you were not welcome into a particular group of friends. I mean, I felt that too because there were two, I think, factors. One is um, an internal factor that I felt I wasn't good enough. Of course, when you were young, you couldn't make out of it. You couldn't make out what that was, and you couldn't make out what was holding you back. But now that you look back, I think we can analyze as better human beings, as more mature human beings. I felt that I wasn't good enough. I felt that I wasn't worthy of being their friend because their dads drive them to school in their black Mercedes, in their Bentleys. You just knew that I came to school in a school bus, but they had their dads and their moms drive them to school, and just they just alighted from the bus from the cars, and they said bye, and they slammed the door behind them. It's like, wow, this is a different class of people. I felt that it held me back. And on the other hand, um, I do feel that there wasn't enough of them reaching out to me, right? Because they were like amongst themselves, like, okay, this is the group that reads the thickest novels of Enid Blyton. They are the ones that read that kind
Mhm.
of like
Princess Diaries, is it?
hardcover, yeah, all the diaries, and then they are the ones who have the nicest bags, school bags, and kind of compared the school bags, and they had common topics that I couldn't go and share. So there was the external factor, and there was also the internal factor. So that really helped
Mhm.
me back as a young girl and as a young student, and I have brought that with me um, until um, I worked really, really hard until I went to secondary school. I went to a very, very good school, one of the top schools in Singapore, because I was working really hard. And there were only two students in the whole school in that cohort in primary six that were kind of like cleared the bar to go to that school. And worked really hard. And that kind of gave me a little bit of self-confidence when I went to the secondary school, right? And of course, in secondary school, again, it was the intrinsic factor. I still felt inferior because my grades were not as good as those who are the stellar, those students with a stellar grade. So I still had that kind of inferiority when I went to secondary school, and I still compared myself with my friends in a way that is unconscious. I still couldn't want to get into the clique because I felt that clique. I knew like I knew that um, I won't belong there. I knew that I couldn't have the kind of same topics of conversations. So I felt isolated in a way that nobody knew because it was intrinsic, you see. So it's only when I went to the university, again, I went to one of the best, topmost universities in the world, number one by QS ranking, Nanyang Technological University. Shout out to you. Number one for universities below 50 years old in the world. Thank God and thank Jesus for that kind of confidence push. So when I went there, I kind of felt that, hey, I've arrived. I kind of felt that I arrived. So it was a little bit of struggle throughout my journey, but I think it's a good struggle when you were young. You had a struggle, right, when you were in secondary school. So did you emerge out of all these? How did you
Yeah.
emerge out of all these?
So when I changed
Beyond
school, right?
Australia.
Yeah, when I changed school, I mean, obviously the kids over there. I mean, at the time I was also a teenager and a kid. They couldn't get along with me, and I completely understand because we were all very young, right? So I mean, it didn't matter. I didn't take it seriously or too personally. I just felt like
Yeah.
when I changed from one school to another for 2 years, I had very few friends, and I just did my own things, went to school and things like that. And then after that, I wanted to go to Australia to study, and then I slowly try to get there to Australia. And then when I went to Australia, that is where I wanted to improve myself,
You kind of
not just
flourished, right? Did you
yes.
feel you kind of flourished because you were
Mhm.
comfortable with the environment and then that made you comfortable with yourself,
Correct.
right?
And it gave me
I,
opportunity there
yeah.
to meet people and things like that. Yeah.
And I want to also let everyone know you actually have two master's degrees, right? And did you do them
Um,
simultaneously?
I did it together actually. Yeah, it was very
Mm.
tough.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say it was a good experience doing that. I also wanted to improve myself academically as well. I wanted to be a better person. I felt like my English wasn't very good. Or to be really honest, I felt like that because the standard there is really high. And sometimes I couldn't understand what my professors were saying. I even attended additional skill support classes. I had to do it. I wanted to be humble and just
You
attend.
wanted to
The
be
thing
you wanted to be like prepared.
yeah, I
Yeah.
prepare myself because I didn't want to feel like, oh, I'm a Singaporean, my first language is English. And I just felt very, like their standard is really high, even though we speak in English over here, over there, they are so petty about grammatical errors and everything,
And the way
paraphrasing
you
and all.
express yourself, yeah,
Yeah, very
the way
difficult.
you present
And
yourself.
I did my best, okay, and after that, not only just academically, but I also wanted to be a better person, in terms of like talking to people, communication skills. I wanted to improve myself, like because I was very reserved kind of a person. And then when I went over there, I became more open. I felt like that. Really,
Yeah, you
if
really
you met
kind of
me, yeah,
thrived.
those days,
You really,
like
really,
15, 16 years
yeah,
old.
you're right. Because can you imagine now you are relating your stories to me? I would not have imagined that because you come across as someone who is so confident. I mean, you're a lecturer, you come across as such a confident, uh, young professional woman who present yourself so well to the world, um, and you're leading your students, you're leading in the classes. It is so hard for people to understand that we did have struggles when we were younger. Can you imagine if you had not emerged out of that? You would be a different person, right? I mean, we talked about that briefly,
Yeah.
right?
I think I would be just
How
the
would you
same. I
become as
wouldn't
a,
have
can you
changed.
imagine how would you be as a person now? Just imagine, like,
I mean, if I didn't feel like I want to change myself or be better, or because of what I experienced in secondary school, I wouldn't have been bothered, right? I would have been the same. But because I went to Sydney, because I wanted to change myself, meet more people, be more vocal, be more open-minded, learn about other
set
people's
yourself a
culture.
challenge.
Yeah, I took myself, I tried to, I wanted to prove to myself basically that I can be a better person. I can be more confident. And it happened
Yay.
slowly, gradually, hopefully. And now I hope I'll be fine in my lecture tomorrow in the morning. Sometimes I'm very tired also. Like sometimes I look very sleepy. But sometimes we all get nervous when we lecturer. As a lecturer, sometimes it happens. But most of the time I try to be confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you fit into the definition of the girl boss
I think
because you
so.
are the woman of yourself now, right?
I
And
guess
and I'm,
so.
I'm I'm very okay. We have got more people coming in. Guido, would you
Oh,
like to say
okay.
hi to them?
Hi, hello.
Yeah,
Can you all see
ladies and
me?
gentlemen, if you are looking at us and if you are one of Preeta's BFFs looking at us, welcome. Oh, we've got more people. Hi, welcome. Click and share this, please. We are 10
Oh,
p.m. Singapore time on a Tuesday evening. What you're looking at is the Marina Bay Sands, the icon of Singapore. And if you are not from this part of the region, Preeta and myself, we welcome you to come to Singapore and make sure when you do come to Singapore, you have your papers and you have your bucket loads of your US dollars. And make sure you spend your money here for the SMEs and make sure you spend your money here happily, eat the best food and have the best time of your lives in Singapore. So we welcome you. So Frida, a couple of we talked about friendship. I want to ask
mhm.
you, is there a friendship that kind of really shattered you? Is there a particular friend that
Wow,
kind of shattered you,
this
your ego,
question. Uh,
ever? Or maybe some people they never had.
okay,
Did you ever
I
have?
experience I experience different kinds of like met different kind of people, and I experience
Yep.
like situations where people can be really nice and people can be also very hostile. Okay, like they change, and I didn't take it like seriously because I know that maybe they have their own personal issues. And but the good thing is, it happened within a short frame of time, so we were not like long-term friends, just like maybe like working colleagues, or probably they were friendly and then they chose to keep a distance and I could see it. So maybe sometimes they are just like protecting themselves, I don't know, at office. But it's fine, because I used to work in the corporate sector before, and I realized that there was one girl that she was always going with me for lunch, and then one day she decided that she was she didn't want to go often with me, and I felt okay, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, people just like disappear, and I'm not really upset about it because I think, I mean, if it was just a short frame of time, it's fine. But I think it'll be more hurtful if you know a person for like 10, 20 years and they chose to like disappear. That's obviously right. Yeah. But at the end of the day, right, I think, okay, this is to do with friendships, but with lovers, right, relationships, right. I think that kind of a thing also is a very, and it's a very sensitive topic, lah. I understand. Some girls I've seen, like my friends, they cannot take breakups, and that's a different topic also. But breakups for them is
Yeah.
an emotional thing. But
Yeah.
some girls, they can just like be okay with it. So for me, actually, I don't take anything personally. For me, I'm like, if it's meant to be, meant to be. If he or she is my friend, I'm fine. If not, it's okay. I don't want to force anybody into the friendship, and even anything, I'm okay. Like, but I also know that if it's a long-term friendship, I can understand it could feel really hurtful, because you know that person very well. But these days I think it's better to like focus more on your life, your own well-being, improve yourself sometimes, rather than focus on, oh, why this person is not accepting me, or why is this person not thinking about me highly, or am I not beautiful, am I not attractive, I don't think you should think about what other people
Yeah.
think.
And I think you
Yeah,
you brought in a very, very good point about, relationships, particularly relationships of the heart, right? I mean, if you are not so um you do not have such a deep friendship with a particular girlfriend, deep BFF, they could go and it's fine. But if you have a BFF, and then they just kind of like cancel you, or they kind of just disappear,
correct.
ghosting,
Ghost, that's the
the
right
ghosting,
word.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be kind of bad, right? Have have has anyone ghosted you, or have you ghosted anyone?
I've never ghosted anyone.
Yeah,
Okay, so I mean, I've not really ghosted anyone, but I don't think ghosting is a good thing to do. I sometimes feel like, okay, this is the story I want to share. Maybe I will want to share this experience with you. I used to go to this association called SkyGo, where they play this Chinese game. I just can't remember the game. Okay, and there was this
right.
girl. I think she was SkyGo is like a part of this group in Scape. They have Scape Youth Organization.
In Orchard, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to go for that, and I wanted to make friends. It was all good until I met this girl. She was friendly at first, but she had some kind of mental condition. She had some dyslexic condition, and she also had some depression as well. So initially, she was. I mean, I kept my distance or so, but I know her situation. She was jobless, and she needed money, and she was very like unpredictable with the mood swings.
Mm,
It's kind of creeping me out
okay.
because, hey, right? Yeah, she will talk to me normally, and the next day she'll be like moody and angry. So, I mean, it
Wow.
happened like, yeah, for 3 to 4 months, and I told myself I cannot deal with this. I cannot cope with, because I cannot like, like for example, I ask her to meet up, and then she's fine. The next day she chooses not to like come. Like she say, I'm tired. I don't want to. I'm busy. I'm feeling stressed. I'm depressed. She goes on like that. So actually, I want to help her with a job, and all these things. I want to recommend her and all that, but she feels very negative about life. And I think today, I mean, I
And
just
how old,
decided not
can I
to.
ask, like, how old was she? What bracket age?
She's around I mean, she's around like probably my age, I guess. Probably now she could be older. She's slightly older than me. Yeah, could be in the late 30s or something. But
But you
I
know that you
must,
look really, really young, you know.
me.
Yeah, you could pass for 25 years old. You know
I
that?
don't know. I
I
didn't know
never
that,
told
but
you that.
or maybe my face cut. Yeah, because a lot of people
Which is
notice that my
good.
face cut's
I
round.
wanted to bring up about this topic that, um, uh, women or girls at this part of the world, they can look very young, right?
Mhm.
But anyway, back
I look
to
very
your
young.
story. So she was
Okay,
depressed and
and she was
she
yeah. I
was
couldn't
being
handle.
erratic. She was being
I couldn't
erratic,
handle
right?
it. Erratic, very erratic. Actually, this is one person that I met who's a girl, and I also met another person similar to her, but of an opposite gender. This is kind of
Yeah,
crazy, actually. Opposite gender meaning like is a person that I used to work with, and also
yeah.
the similar. So I noticed that some of these people when they become depressed, when they are jobless, when they need of money, right, they become like that, very erratic. So at some point, I kept my distance and I slowly like moved away because I felt like I want to help them, but they're not in the right frame of mind to even listen, you know? So I just decided, I mean, there was no choice for that. For these two people, I mean, was a girl and a guy. The guy was my ex-colleague.
So did
And
you
yeah,
ghost them? So did you ghost them?
no, I didn't ghost them. I just
What did you,
told that
what's the technique of kind of slowly move away? What did you do?
for example, for the girl, I just told her that, I told her I'm very honest and very open-minded. I just said that, I wanted to help you with a job and, sit with you and apply for jobs, but you are not in the right frame of mind because you are like always very stressed and moody and you didn't want to meet. So I couldn't help you. So I told her that, I think it's best that you ask other friends or you try your best and do those things. And then after that, she didn't really like continue talking to me much or so because I can't help someone who is not in the right frame of mind. As for the other
But
person
you
who was
can't
my
be helped.
ex-colleague,
Yeah.
yeah, the other
Yeah.
person, I used to work with him. After he lost his job, he became very depressed and he asked me for help also. So I tried my best to recommend a few jobs and all, but nothing worked out and he became very depressed. So in the end, I also like, kept my distance because like I think after that he also became very depressed and all that and moody. So I don't know. I think it really gets into you, the depression, for some people. Ah, so I think this kind of situation, it's not because they want to behave like that. The thing is, their situation, their financial struggle, make them feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are people who go through emotional things. Um, and sometimes you kind of manifest it outwardly without yourself knowing. And that is
Correct.
in a way of how you deal with others, right? When you bear certain bitterness in your heart, you will kind of show in the way that you deal with people through your language, the word choice, I should say the lexical, it is, or your energy that you're giving out.
Correct.
People could feel it, and you don't even know that.
Yeah, we
Um,
can just feel
I,
it
I
and
do,
we decide to move
yeah,
away.
yeah, correct, correct. I do remember my sister and myself when I was really young. She's about 6 years older than I am. She started working, um, and she's really pretty. Because my mom was really, really beautiful. When I look at the photos now at that age, she really looked like Jessica Alba. I was thinking, oh wow, now I'm looking at the photos.
Oh,
She looked
I
like
need to see the
Jessica
photo.
Alba even after we all grew and she became a grandmother, she still looks so good. Um, Now that I look back, she's passed, but when I look back in the photos, I couldn't imagine like she was so beautiful. My sister is really pretty. So I can't say it's a sibling rivalry. She's always pretty. She's got a good social life. She has a very good network of friends. Of course, she started working earlier and she could buy all these wonderful dresses and she could dress up. She's already working and I was still a student, right? Um, so, I looked at her but I studied really, really hard. So in the family, I am more like the person who's the nerd. So
Nerd.
I will bury myself, the nerd. I look at my books, I bury myself. I was
Mm-hmm.
just telling my friends, do you remember those days? I'm not sure about you, but I remember my days when I went to school, especially in the university. Um, you were given recommended books, right? Reference books, recommended books, papers, articles that you're supposed to read. So I'm a really a nerd. I was really a nerd. I think I'm still a nerd at this stage of my life. I would always be the first one to run to the library after these books are being released to actually borrow them, hoard them, and then when I go to school for my tutorials and my lectures, I would bring them to school even though they were really so thick. So, I'm more like the nerd in the family, but my sister is the one who's like, I would say that in these terms, in these times, you will call it the Instagram influencer level kind of. I think she would be if we are now born in that era. She's now still in this era.
Okay.
She would be with her very beautiful dress, and she put on her makeup. And I'm like the nerd. I'm like the girl next door. I'm like the
Mm.
plain Jane. And then she was a model at one time. So there was such a big difference, and I won't say it's sibling rivalry, but there wasn't a common topic. And I see her from a different lens, and she saw me at a different lens. So we really never became like friends as sisters, which is isn't I mean isn't that a pity? But you do have your siblings, right?
Yeah, I have a younger brother, and currently
Yeah.
he's in Australia, Sydney. He's working there.
What's the relationship between both of you?
Okay, this is an interesting question, but I would say it's okay because we do communicate. Yeah, because we're quite far.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
because we, like, for example, like sisters, where we have this thing about, like we say, sibling rivalry. It also happens sometimes with brother and sister as well. We may have differences in opinion, but most of the time we will try to, even there's a little argument, which is normal, we will be okay, and then we'll just come back together and just go for dinner or just go out or something like that. It happens all the time. Yeah, it's
I
fine. I
do
mean, with brother
remember.
and
Yeah,
sisters relationship.
yeah. So there isn't like big quarrels and all this, right? Did you ever
Just
have
a
have that?
It's just a very
Like
small, like,
fights?
misunderstanding, or it's not
Yeah.
like
I
really
mean,
like a big quarrel. Yeah,
yeah. That means we still do have a very close relationship, right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay, I just do want to share one more thing. We've got more people looking at us right now. Hi, if you're from this part of the world or if you're from US,
Hi.
wherever, please just drop down which country you're from. Just list them. I remember um, my brother always said, or not always, but intermittently he would give comments like, why do you need to give your opinion? Can't you just sit back um, and keep quiet like many other girls? That kind of imprinted in me even till this day. And now I look at and I start to read that's very sexist. Do you call that sexist? It's like, okay, you would say like, can you just like keep quiet and not give your opinion? Can you just sit back like other girls and not make it and not make any noise and not speak? And I was like, oh my God, I mean, I'm not supposed to give an opinion. So a lot of times, even within my family when I was younger, I
Mhm.
would keep a lot of opinion to myself. Does it happen to your family? Or maybe not at all?
I think because, okay, that's a very good question also. Because in Australia, right, when I lived there, I think that people there became very open. They're very vocal over there, the Western culture, right? So my brother and I, we became very vocal after that, after we studied there. With Singapore parents, that my mom and dad, right? We also we are very vocal with them. Sometimes if we feel, yeah, I would just tell my mom, you're not doing this correct, or this is not right. Maybe you should try to do that. I'll just tell my mom and dad. My mom listens, my
It's a
dad
very
also will
good
listen.
family
Yeah.
culture, right? There's
We
lots
we
of
try to
respect
open
for
up.
your dad and your mom.
Yeah, we will suggest new ideas. Like for example, we'll tell them, maybe you want to renovate the toilet. What can we do? We do share opinions and all that. Yeah, and then of course they also have their own
Really, that's
opinion.
really sweet. That's
Yeah.
really sweet. I mean, I do miss that part of the family life.
Hmm.
I don't have that kind of family life. I think maybe subliminally you kind of crave it, but because I never had it, I don't know how it feels. Like being like being close. Because I think throughout these few podcasts we had before, my dad passed when I was about 7 or 8, right? And at that time, my brother was already um, studying in the secondary school, and I was really young in primary school. My sister is older than me, and then we kind of like stopped talking for a long time, and we never really spoke even till now, because it kind of just you kind of just in a very safe word, you just say you drift apart, right? You just say that you drift apart. Um, to be to sound politically correct, you drift apart. But to be really honest and open, you can say that it's kind of dysfunctional because you have siblings who never really talk, who never really had conversations, who never really want to engage with each other. You see, and so I never had something like you. I mean, that's a really nice, sweet kind of family. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking and you fall into this kind of category like myself, or you fall into the category of Prida's family, write to us, or in between, or even more extreme, write to us. What do you think? What comments do you have, Prida?
Okay, with my parents and my brother, I'm okay with them, but I have to be honest. Sometimes
Yeah,
when I go for functions like weddings and all, we do have a couple of family members who don't really like come forward and talk for many years, like
yeah,
relatives. And I think it's been like that. So I also realized that within the family and relatives, there are some really good family, like they really keep in touch, talk to us, and some of them they don't really get along. Because my family is pretty big
don't really
actually.
care. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of my father has a lot of siblings, and the weddings can be like so many weddings in a year. And sometimes we just go there, they will come and forward and talk, but some they won't even come forward. So I've seen it all. I even have some family members who are working in media corp, in Vasandam, for example, and even they also sometimes when I just see them, I mean, I don't want to name who they are, but they don't really talk to
they don't really
many. Yeah, they
care.
are because they are working in media corp and they are actresses and models. They don't really talk to many people in the weddings or functions. So I never really got a chance to talk to them. They behave like that. I think it's about ego and they think they are at the top and they feel they are just great and perfect. So I mean it's been like that for many years, and I just smile and probably that's it. Relatives lah, probably like distant relatives. Like,
This
yeah,
this is getting so interesting. So, ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen, those of you who are looking at us in and out on air, on the radio, or on Facebook Live, please write to us and tell us your story and which category you belong to, more towards my side, my kind of bell curve here, or Frida's bell curve over there. Frida, we are 38 minutes into the show. The three, it's my live 3 a.m. conversation I wish I could have had. Yeah, I mean, a lot of conversations we wish we could have had when we were younger. I mean, I wish that I could have done a lot of things and have a lot of conversations, because conversation is part of growing up, kind of learning from each other. Um, do you have anything to add in the next 2 minutes or so to wrap this up?
I will say that yes, family is important, but of course, not everyone will behave like family sometimes, like you mentioned,
I don't
Vicky,
feel like that. I mean, it's a
behave
very
like
good way of
family,
putting it.
putting it. Yeah, it's true. Like I told you,
Yeah,
right? I mean, like my father's side is huge, really huge. You will never think how many people will attend a wedding. almost
Oh
like
my
7 to 8,000 people will just attend a wedding. It's like that. Sometimes it can be
God.
more. It can happen for a few
Yeah, I
days.
mean,
Now they have,
their weddings can go on to 3 days, right?
yeah, it can happen. It's a lot of people, and sometimes they don't even attend the wedding. There are people who don't attend a certain wedding. So, but I try to go, and you see some people who really are very friendly, very vocal, very open, and some of them are not. This is just their character and personality. So I won't take it so seriously. For me, is okay if you want to talk, talk. If you don't want to talk, but goodbye. I'm very simple. I have nothing to lose anyway, and it's good to have a good
Always
circle of
explaining.
friends. Honestly, it's good to have a good circle of friends, and I'm really happy that I met you, Vicky, and you're a very good friend to me. And you've been very supportive. You helped me out with this podcast. I feel like I'm back in my uni days, doing things out of my shell again, really, because when I was in uni, I did all these things. I did a short film. I worked for
Wow.
member of parliament. I did all these kind of things. I wanted to volunteer, but I didn't get much opportunities in Singapore. Over here in Singapore, right? Media opportunities are lesser as compared to Sydney. Sydney is huge. You've got lots of TV channels, radio. I even spoke in the radio before, voluntarily in Sydney. But over here, when you gave me this opportunity, I'm also thinking of writing this in my CV, because I feel like I will not get the chance again. I just want to put it in there. I just feel so happy about it, doing these conversations, and I share a lot of experiences, and you share a lot of experiences. We learn from one another. So I must
I
say, you're a
know,
really
yes.
amazing
And we're
friend.
sharing this with the world. So
Yes,
everyone is learning from each other, right? I mean, how beautiful the way you put I really, really appreciate you, Frida, for um sharing this. And I feel you have been really very selfless in being very honest because being very open and honest is a value, right, Frida? It's a
yes,
value that the world is starting to miss out on because we start to have these kind of barriers between humans, right? You can look at the political news on people who are embracing um, they're not embracing differences, but they are another part of the world like us. That's why I want to show the world that we embrace ourselves, we embrace differences, and I think I love the way you put it, and I'm totally appreciative of what you say in terms of valuing the
yes, of
kind
course.
of very special friendship that we have. Um, I really, really feel that whatever we do now, Frida, it is for conversation, it is for entertainment, it is to calm down the temperatures of the world, it is to tell people that it's okay to chill out and have a conversation. But I think much more than that, Prita, we are showing the world we can embrace each other. We're showing the world that we can have conversations even we're not together. We can have conversations across, and then we can have conversations um, by hearing other people talk. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's the beauty of the abundance of the technology that we have because we are sending this very positive thoughts, positive um, goodwill. Yeah, I would say the word is goodwill to between us to the rest of the world. And I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, that's the kind of friendship we should have with the world. Frida, that's my bottom line. Is whatever we're doing now, it could be just a girl talk over coffee, over supper, my cooling ice, orange juice. But really it's really to start just to show and not only to tell the world that we can have conversations, we can connect, but we're showing the world we can connect and we can send out this positive thought and this positive love to the world, I think it's beautiful, Prita. I think, yeah,
Yes. I really had an amazing experience doing this podcast, and I hope I can do more and share some of my views. And there's
yeah,
not
sure.
there are not
That's
much
that's good.
outlets. There are not much of
Yeah,
outlets for us to voice out. I feel like we need
yeah,
to, as women, we need to share and talk, and people can
as
learn
women,
from us
yeah,
and all that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. I really had a
definitely.
good time.
Thank you so much, Frida. We are 44 minutes, well, almost 45 minutes, so we're signing off here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you feel the vibe here. Everything is about the vibe. Everything is about energy. We're sending to each other. I hope that you all can write to us. Just drop a note, and then listen in to the show and watch our highlights, the funny parts, the enlightening parts between Prita and myself, and also download the app, the Wonder Network. Let's say goodbye, Prita, and I'll see you next Monday.
Bye bye.
Bye. Have a good evening and
Have a
watch
good
your show.
evening.
I think you've got a movie that you're trying to catch, right?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. Is that Tom Cruise?
No, John Cena. Oh, am I on live now? Still?
You still are. You still are. So John
Oh,
Cena, yeah, the WWE
the
guy,
I
right?
think it's head of state or something. Wait, I think
Oh,
it's a
okay.
good. It's in Prime. Yeah, head of
Wow.
state. You should watch it
Okay.
as well.
So
You got Prime?
no, I, I
You
don't,
got it?
I don't, I don't watch. I have no patience for sitting in front of a screen to watch through an episode. I don't. I used to watch Friends, all these years, and
Oh.
even when you take a plane, I would choose the series of Friends just to laugh it off, even though I've seen it for many times. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but anyway, let's come back and share some positive energy and send that to the rest of the world. We love you. Peter and ourselves signing off from Singapore to the rest of the world. See you again on Monday. Bye.
Bye bye.